Asato perfection in the pour. The Asato product line of bar and kitchenware is the exact match of quality, price, and presentation. From martini glass rimmers to condiment holders to bartending gift sets to bottle pourers, this is a massive, wide range of barware, perfect for your restaurant, bar, home bar, and even your kitchen.
It's a great gift for holidays or birthdays. Grab this amazing product line of Asato products here today at New York Bar Store. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. This is Faye with you today, and I'm super excited today. Once again, we are here with Mike. How are you?
I'm great, Faith. It's a pleasure. It's been fun getting these shows going. So much fun stuff to talk about.
Absolutely, Mike. And I totally agree because this is the episode three already for the New York Bar Store. And this is a super fun episode. We don't only have one guest, we have two guests for this episode. This is Cody and Haley. And pretty much I don't want to spill most of the tea for this podcast interview, but there's a lot to get in. There's a lot of surprises. They're here to also make a demo. That's a surprise for you. I know that everyone watched what Mark did last time, and they were so happy about it. And we want to show you more things that, especially more of, for example, what Cody and Haley would be doing. And I love that trick, honestly. I actually love that trick, just to spice that up. But I love Cody and Haley, the passion that they have for creating drinks, being in the parties, events.
It's awesome.
Especially on pandemic, they have this online things that they have been doing a lot of things. I don't want to spill that out, but from virtual, from face to face, they're still here existing and helping out a lot of parties, events, hosting that a lot of times. And I wish that, you were also there. If you were there, you'll be so excited to meet them.
I'm sure. I'm checking these out. It's fun to watch. I mean, Mark's was cool last time. And like you said, there's the format like an interview, and then there's some demos and show and tell and recipes and things. So I'm loving these episodes. So we're also super busy, as you know, with our brand expansion, towards the end of the year for Asato, one of our main product lines here at New York Bar Store. So that's been super busy as well. But so much action happening here at the community. So I'm excited to check out this episode, and let's roll. What do you think?
All right, let's roll. But don't forget that we are launching this wonderful brand, and it is Asato. I know everyone's watching we have been talking more about this, but even in a lot of episodes, there's a lot of things coming in for Asato. Please stay tuned and get ready. And we are coming now with Asato. What can you say more about Asato?
Yeah, so we have the full page at newyorkbarstore.com/Asato, ESATTO. And yeah, I mean, we're focusing in Amazon channel mostly, but there are some B2B people, and we're working with a lot of these guests that we've been talking to about, getting different channels set up. So if people are interested to be a reseller, an ambassador, we're really trying to make this a community brand. And you'll see some really cool, we've already been sharing photos of some people using these different products in this launch. Christian and our team has been heading that up, and Sally's working hard too. So we're really trying best to have lots of different people using this, showing it in lifestyle and videos. So it's been real fun. Lots of stuff happening, like so many products all at the same time. It's really overwhelming.
Absolutely. And Asato is just one of our brands, honestly, and we are here to launch it very, very soon. And again, we'll just place it in the photos here. There's a lot of people using this already, and I think you might want to try it again. We do have our link for our show notes here, so at least you can see it. I mean, just try to have a look of what Asato can bring for you as well. All right. Yeah. Well, I and Mike doesn't want to keep you waiting. We are here to start our episode 3 with Cody and Haley here in the New York Bar Store. Let's get it on.
Let's do it.
What is up, everyone? We are back again here in our podcast with the New York Bar Store. Again, this is Faye with you, your host here again in the New York Bar Store podcast. And today, it's another special episode since that we don't have one guest, but we have 2 guests in this podcast. And what's good about this, they are the partners and the founders of Home Bar Network. Again, this is Haley and Cody. How are you guys doing there?
Hi,
We're great. How are you?
We're great. How are you?
Everything's going good here, and I can see there's a wonderful setup going on there, and we're so excited to have you guys here. I know you have a pretty busy schedule, but how's everything going with you lately? What have you been doing?
Oh man, this past week we had 4 events back to back. So that kept us very busy. Lots of prep.
Yeah.
You know, we do all of our syrups, our homemade, our juices, our fresh squeeze for all of our craft cocktail menus. So
Yeah, we had a double header on Saturday, which is what we like to call when we have 2 events in the same day. So we actually had to split up, and we're a new company. So it's the first time we had to actually split up and have someone else go with each of us to help out. So that was exciting and something that we had to kind of feel out and learn as we went, but it was great. And
Yeah.
a busy season coming up all the way through the holidays. So
yes, we are very blessed to say that every weekend is booked through Christmas.
Yeah.
So
That's good. And we're super happy to hear that. I know, again, as what I said earlier, you're pretty busy. All weekends are booked. So this is a big privilege for us to be able to have you in our podcast, just to hear how you started, just to hear how is everything going on. Again, we are so happy to have you here. And we just want to get this started, of course. And just a quick background for anyone here that is watching and listening to our podcast. Haley's background is in digital marketing, mainly social media and design. However, she is running a bar or 2 of her own in her day. And from creating cocktail menus to pouring a lot of things into the night to the sound of lively Irish bands, Haley knows the world of imbibing inside and out. And when it comes to Cody, he has over at least 15 years of experience in the restaurant and bar world, from serving and managing to creating cocktail and wine menus for multiple restaurants. Cody has been honing his craft and creating delicious, a lot of cocktails, a lot of creations, becoming celebrated recipes all over the last several years. So what can you say mainly about your background? You have immense background. We're so happy to hear that.
oh my God, you did a great job.
Sounded fantastic. Yeah, we both are extremely passionate about cocktails, the culture of bar world, being behind the bar, hospitality in general, and how restaurants and bars are run and should be run. And that's really what we bring to our business. Is we like to completely put hospitality at the forefront of everything that we do. Cocktails obviously are right there at the top of what we do, but we find that especially post-pandemic, there's been kind of a loss of hospitality, and I think a little bit less of a focus on taking care of guests and the right way, the way that we're used to being taken care of, for, all of our history of going out and everything like that.
And obviously, I mean, it's been very hard for a lot of restaurants and bars to find enough staff.
Exactly.
Staffing has been an issue, not just in the restaurant world, but in many industries. So, what we do now, we're essentially bringing the craft cocktail bar experience to people's homes.
Yes.
So we are essentially a mobile bar. We teach cocktail classes. So like depending on the size of your group, like smaller groups of friends, bachelorette parties, birthday parties, we can do curated cocktail class experiences. Or for larger groups, we tend to set up, we'll set up a full craft cocktail bar at their house or at their office. We have a lot of corporate clients as well. And what we're essentially then bringing the bar experience that we know and love and that hospitality, we're bringing that to them.
Yes.
So, and it all started in 2020 when the pandemic hit and bars closed. Cody was a beverage director for a restaurant group here in Alpharetta, Georgia. And
we're a little bit north of Atlanta for those who aren't familiar.
yes. And, long story short, bars closed, but people were stuck at home. They were still drinking cocktails, drinking spirits, drinking beers, whatever. Lots of regulars, friends reaching out to us. Hey, can you remind me how to make this? Or, hey, we really miss your cocktails. And we were like, well, let's create a channel. Let's create an Instagram and a YouTube where we can teach our friends, family, regulars, how to make a proper cocktail at home. And so it went from that kind of idea, and then that morphed into, we could do virtual cocktail classes, because the virtual, what happened in 2020, everyone went virtual.
Yeah.
Companies were doing virtual happy hours. So it went from then to virtual. And then as, 2021 kind of came, then we started doing a lot more in-person events. So
yeah, that's where we are now.
That's where we are now.
Wow, there's a lot coming in and out. And again, for everyone, to know as well, with our listeners, to our viewers, all of the weekends are booked for Cody and Haley. Well, I know since because of this podcast, there will be a lot of coming in for a lot of bookings and such. Just feel free to add some. But as of the moment, there's a lot coming in. Just make sure to hit up Cody and Haley with the socials, because there's a lot coming in and out. And we are so happy to hear that. We are so proud of you. Absolutely. With the things that you have gone through as well. Absolutely. Well, I think I have a lot of questions here, and mainly the questions that will be coming in from our viewers and listeners as well. Of course, this is something very sweet. Can you share a short story of how each of you started in the bar industry and eventually met, then you got married?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Who'd like to start?
Yeah.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah. No, so I worked my first bartending job in 2007, and no jiggering, no measuring, nothing, just slinging drinks, kind of with reckless abandon, not really any training. I remember the first time somebody stumped me with a cocktail, they asked for a salty dog, and I had no idea what it was. And this is before you had a phone and you could just Google something. So I had to sit there and think, and there was nobody else to ask. And eventually I had to ask the guests, and she had to explain to me what,
vodka and grapefruit
with salt rim. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I not know that? But from then I kind of bartended on and off for several years, always as just kind of a gig between other jobs, until I met a guy who's kind of my mentor in the bar world named Marcus. And Marcus taught me how to actually bartend, jiggering, measuring.
What was 10 years ago?
This is 2014.
Okay.
So 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's the one that really taught me the craft of bartending. And so I'm forever grateful to him for kind of changing it from just a job to a career path into something that I could learn as an art form and to really hone and get better at. And yeah.
I started in the bar world in college, as a lot of us do. I worked as a cocktail waitress and then as a lead bartender at a place in Milledgeville called The Brick. And for anyone who's familiar with Georgia,
Milledgeville is a tiny town.
Georgia. It was the original capital.
It was the original capital.
Lots of points there. So started bartending in college, and then came out of college and still picked up odd bar jobs, in addition to working for some startups in the digital marketing world. Started my own social media freelance business on the side, but was also bartending for extra cash, and really kind of came into my true passion of bartending when I was running the bar at a whiskey bar, Irish pub / whiskey club, and just became obsessed with learning about whiskey. And, it just kind of blossomed from there. And I became the bar manager, and I created the first craft cocktail menu on the street at an Irish pub, which is not necessarily where a lot of people expect to get a nice cocktail, but I was really proud of it. And
it was a great menu. It was a great menu.
Yeah. The owner of the restaurant was flabbergasted that we were selling so many cocktails at a pub. So that was a cool kind of testament to everything. But there was a time that, Cody has surpassed me in the knowledge of the true mixology of flavors and things going together. But there was a time where Cody would have to call me and ask. I
had to text you about the ingredients in a Cosmo one time.
Cosmo, I remember one time you needed the specs for a Manhattan.
Yeah.
So we both, I only say that just to poke fun a little bit, but it's funny to see how far we've come. But all that to say, we just truly both have such a passion. When we travel together, which is another passion of ours. Like we hit the streets, we go in and out of places, we observe bars, we love the culture, we love restaurants, we love local food scene.
I try and get lost when we go places and just find great places to eat and drink and places that locals hang out. And we like to see the culture of drinking and eating establishments in different cities and how they change. And
that brings us to how we met. We met in Spain, actually. Funny enough,
Wow.
We both lived in Georgia, but we first met in Madrid. I was traveling there visiting a friend, and he was on a study abroad, and our paths crossed. And little did we know, we both lived in Georgia, and we really hit it off. And that was in summer 2009, and we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes full circle, really, to show like our passions of traveling, drinking culture, bar culture. We actually met abroad as well.
Yeah. So long story there. But
Wow, I really love this story. It's like a coincidence, like you guys just meeting Madrid. He was just doing another thing, you were doing another thing, but you have the same passion. And was it a coincidence? What do you feel about it? Like, hey, we do have the same passion, same thing that we wanted to do. What can you say more about that?
Yeah, I think we just kind of realized really quickly that we wanted to hang out with each other more than maybe other people in the group, because we love just walking around the city at night and
talking about architecture,
yeah.
And just like, observing everything around us, like just really taking it all in. And we both also really kind of love history as well. So like that was immediate like point of conversation where we like just totally hit it off. And, we'd sit down at a little cafe and we would talk like, in Spain, there's this really great tradition called botellón, where you essentially sit down for happy hour, which is later, like around 9 or 10 would be like your happy hour.
Party.
And it's like they bring you order drinks and they bring you food just for drinking at the cafe.
Tapas culture where you don't even have to pay for food as long as you're paying for drinks, they bring you,
And it's not just like popcorn. Like here, like you're lucky to get some popcorn. Like you're lucky to get some popcorn. They're bringing you like crostinis with smoked salmon and creme fraiche and like fresh dill.
All kinds of delicious things really, just for sitting down and drinking wine there. But
yeah, I remember one of our first conversations, we were like really taken aback by like how great the tapas was, and it was free.
Yeah,
so
it's like
we were
better than food that you take here. And sorry about the barking there.
It's
but
all right.
That's kind of how we bonded when we first met, and over food and drink and travel. And that's our our big thing now is we our I would say hobby is traveling. And so it was really tough in the pandemic being stuck where we were, but we turned that into kind of not only starting the business, but being able to travel from home by talking with other people across the world and across the country through Zoom and things like that was kind of scratched that itch a little bit. It kind of made it so that it wasn't like we were totally stuck at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Adjusting the dogs.
It's okay. I totally agree, because a lot of things happen, especially the pandemic. We need to pivot mainly in virtual things. So, I mean, even me, I work virtually right now because just for the pandemic. But I totally agree with Haley. Since 2021 to up until now 2022, there's a lot of face-to-face events now. And I think when it comes to bars, cocktails, drinks, people are really longing for it, especially from the pandemic. And that's the time you come in there. I believe so, because, especially the corporate events, there's a lot of outings, there's a lot of family gatherings that they might need you. They might need, there's a lot coming in lately. And speaking of the things that you were telling about, you guys are offering cocktail lessons. And why should we take your cocktail lessons compared to others who also offer the same?
Sure. Yeah. I think it really comes down to, again, hospitality and how we make people feel. There's a certain skill to come into someone's home, a stranger's home, and take over their kitchen and then make them feel so comfortable and be very approachable in the way we present and the way we talk through our cocktails. And again, when we get booked, there's like a couple steps we take. So right in the beginning of the booking, we have an actual call with our clients. We hear each other's voices. We like to get to know a little bit about their palates. things they love, things they don't love. So from the very beginning, when you book with Home Bar Network, you get a very curated experience. And then once we arrive, you know, we set up in their kitchen or backyard or wherever they like us to set up. And, you know, we just immediately make people feel very comfortable, and it's, you know, it's a special thing.
I think it's also, the comfort level that we bring is something that we've gained from being in hospitality for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a skill set that translated from the restaurant into someone's home.
Mm-hmm.
And also our ingredients, the quality of the ingredients that we use, you know, I'm not picking on anybody else, but we like to say we're not Craigslist bartenders, right? Because a lot of people for weddings or for engagement parties or bridal showers, they'll just hire somebody on the internet who will show up
and pour, you know, vodka sodas or, you know, a Jack and Coke, or maybe bring some sour mix.
Yeah, and they're not using, they're not craft ingredients. They didn't make ingredients with their hands. There was no quality going into the work or the care that they're doing when they're creating and executing cocktails or drinks or whatever it is that they're making. And another thing that we kind of pride ourselves on is the bar world, and especially the craft cocktail world, has an air of intimidation to it for a lot of people who aren't involved in it. So when you go to a craft cocktail bar or you go to a really hip new spot, walking up to the bar, talking to the bartender, some people are a little bit, you know, maybe intimidated.
They're a little bit intimidated. Maybe they don't really know. They see a cocktail, but they don't know what a couple of the ingredients are.
They don't even know how to ask about it.
They're scared to ask.
And a lot of bartenders have an attitude. You know what I mean? Especially in the craft world. And I'm sorry, I know people are going to probably not like to hear that, but it's true, right?
No, I mean, I'm sure everyone's had an experience.
Bartenders in craft cocktail bars kind of can have an arrogance to them. And so we like to just completely
omit any sort of pretension or arrogance and just make people feel comfortable with us, but also really comfortable with
drinks,
the ingredients and making craft cocktails feel approachable. Like, yes, we are using fresh squeezed juices and homemade syrups, but here, let me show you how easy it is to make a clove infused simple syrup or lavender infused simple syrup or whatever we're doing.
Or a saline tincture or something, you know, these things that people, I think, don't think that they can do at home, and they can do them very simply, you know, and just take the right person to teach.
Yeah.
I would totally agree, honestly. In my opinion, of course, that we have been getting a lot of, you know, there's a lot of pop-up cocktail bars, you know, a lot of times when it comes to parties, different parties. And a lot of times, honestly, I agree. Like, I cannot ask, how do you do this? What's this about? How do you make this?
Right.
They just sent you, and I give it to you. Just that's it, right? It's a lot of times I would experience that. And having said that, like, to everyone's listening, to everyone's watching, I agree. Hospitality is number one. It's especially when that's where you gain the customers' trust. Customers, you know, I'm comfortable with you. I would love to work more with you, have you more in our future parties. And it means a lot, honestly. And at this point, I believe so. This is the point that everyone's waiting for. Would you mind showing us a demo of your favorite cocktail drinks?
Yeah.
Just give a little background. How do you create it? Why is it your favorite? And how any inspiration about it? Just the floor is yours.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we are going to present to you today our Tokyo Sour. And this recipe was created specially for a client who approached us about a very kind of upscale private party he was having at his home. And he said he wanted to have a Japanese whiskey cocktail that was very approachable for all palates, meaning I want a Japanese whiskey cocktail that even someone who doesn't normally drink whiskey would drink and enjoy. So that was kind of our task in creating this recipe. And so we love Japanese whiskey. First of all, it makes a lovely base for a lot of different cocktails. So we created the recipe to be very approachable and delicious and fresh. And we're using Toguchi Japanese whiskey.
Yep.
We're using ginger liqueur by Stirrings. And then we've made a ginger green tea syrup. And we have these recipes on our social media and on our website at homebarnetwork.com. But essentially, this is ginger green tea reduced into a syrup with sugar, you know, equal parts sugar and filtered water. And then we double the amount of tea bags per brew to really give it a lot of flavor. And then we have fresh squeezed lemon. We have fresh squeezed mandarin and an egg white because we are doing it as a classic sour.
Yeah. So we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So the Tokyo Sour is, we're going to create the cocktail by cracking the egg first.
We always say this, and whenever we're demoing whiskey sours in our cocktail classes, always do the egg first, just in case you accidentally get some shell or some yolk in. You would not want to get it on top of the whiskey and have to dump your whiskey, because that would be just a sad day for everybody.
Yeah, so egg first, and then what we're going to do is we are going to, my hand's a little wet here, hold on. We're going to do 1.5 ounces of our Japanese whiskey. Then we're going to do 1/2 ounce of ginger liqueur. And your ginger liqueur doesn't matter the brand as long as it's quality. Same with the Japanese whiskey. This is a blended Japanese whiskey. So this is kind of a straw colored, lighter drinking Japanese whiskey. It's not a single malt.
And you're making a cocktail after all. You don't really want to use like
We're not using
whiskey.
Yamazaki 12.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Drink that neat. Yes.
Then we're doing 1/2 ounce of fresh squeezed mandarin. It has a beautiful orange color. I love the way the mandarin looks when you juice it. 3/4 ounce fresh squeezed lemon.
And when you fresh squeeze your lemon, you always want to make sure you're double straining that juice to remove all of the pulp. You get a much cleaner end product.
That's right.
And it won't get stuck in your.
Yeah, it won't get stuck in the top of the bottle there. And then 3/4 ounce of our ginger green tea syrup. And then we're going to shake this. I'm going to do a reverse dry shake. So I'm going to shake first with ice, and then I'm going to strain all the cocktail out, dump the ice, and then shake it again dry to really whip that egg white and get it into a nice broth. Haley's bar back for me right now. So we're going to give this a good shake. And I'm going to strain my cocktail. All the way out.
Get every last drop.
And then we're going to dump our ice. And I'm going to shake again. In a circular motion, sorry. To kind of whip that egg white into a nice meringue, into a foam. The left side right there is the left. And then we've got a coupe that we've had in the freezer.
Nice.
Nice frosty coupe.
I'll just hold it up so maybe closer to the camera.
Here we are. And we're going to pour straight in. And we end up with a really nice froth on top.
Okay.
And then we've got candied ginger here on a skewer. And we're just going to top the cocktail with some candied ginger.
I wish you could sip it through the computer, Faith.
Really? I'm actually literally drooling for it. It looks delicious, honestly. And wow, and just to make sure that I'm getting this correct, what is the name of this drink?
The Tokyo Sour.
Gotcha. Wow, guys, as you can see, they just showed us how to, wow, I'm just a bit jealous, but it's the Tokyo Sour. Wow. What do you love the most here? I just wanted to ask both of you. Let's start with Haley. What do you like the most with this drink?
Well, I'm a huge green tea lover, first and foremost, and ginger as well. So those two flavors just work so well. Also in kind of making sure that the sour component is definitely there, but not overpowering. I think the tea flavors kind of help mellow out any overtly sour flavors. And that's also what the mandarin kind of helps. So typically in a classic sour, your sour element would just be the fresh lemon.
Right.
But when we add a little bit of mandarin to the mix too, it kind of helps soften that sourness and give it a touch of sweetness.
A little bit more froth. If you take orange juice by itself and shake it, it gives you some froth.
You can probably see like that beautiful level of froth right there. Obviously that's from the egg white, but also from the enzymes of the fresh juice.
Yeah, the juice gives it a little, pumps up the broth a little bit. Like Haley says, kind of rounds out some of the sharper flavors of the lemon and the ginger. It's a really, really drinkable cocktail.
Oh my God. Like we said, a client wanted a very approachable Japanese whiskey cocktail. This is something we actually did this recipe for an engagement party in Buckhead in Atlanta on Saturday. This was the groom's choice cocktail because he also loves Japanese whiskey. And it was amazing to hear the feedback. There were so many women that came up to the bar and were like, well, I don't drink whiskey, but my friend ordered that and I really like it. Can I have a Tokyo Sour? And I mean, I heard that all night. It was so many people's first time really drinking whiskey cocktails. And it was so cool to be the one to show them that.
Absolutely. You were saying?
I was saying we love with certain recipes, if someone thinks that maybe they're a little averse to a certain type of spirit, we like to give them kind of like a bridge into that by giving them something that they maybe is unexpected a little bit. Something that they maybe think like, oh, there's no way I don't like mezcal. I don't like.
I mean, it happens
gin,
all the time in our classes, because we do a well-rounded menu of say 4 to 5 drinks, depending on the group. And there's always someone who's like, when we get to like a gin cocktail, who's like, ooh, I don't really drink gin. I think maybe I'll sit this one out. And we're like, well, maybe let's try a sample. Let's just see, no harm, no foul. Let's just try it and see what you think. And then they taste it and they go, oh, I think this is my new favorite drink.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be said in people's kind of stigmas on different spirits. So, some people had a bad experience with gin when they were 18 years old, and then they think that they don't like it, but then they have it in a properly balanced cocktail and they think, oh, wow, I can drink this.
It's nice to just bring those walls down, I think is what we're trying to get to.
Absolutely. I would truly agree. There's a lot of people that would just say, I don't want to drink this. But with the drink, once you give it a bit of a unique flavor, then you get they get what they'd be needing. And that's mainly it, honestly, in my opinion. If that's how you make the drinks, well, of course, our viewers and our listeners will love to taste the Tokyo Sour. Well, as you told us, guys, the ingredients is also in your socials, I believe so.
Yes, it's on our Instagram and we have it on our website as well.
Great. So to everyone that wants to try this at your home, well, you know where to catch this recipe. Well, now let's move forward here. Since that, again, Cody was talking more about this one. We noticed that you both traveled around the world, honing your skills in crafting cocktails. What countries were the most memorable for you that you learned a lot and used that wisdom in your own business right now?
Part 2 will be coming soon.
Are you looking for high quality, epic products for your man collection? Excalibur Brothers is a product brand for you.
This is perfect for gifting, enjoying yourself. This is a good and honestly lovely product for true gentlemen, as we say at a New York bar store.
So welcome to your kingdom.
Excalibur Brothers products are now available.